HR tech systems, HR folks will have better touch time with humans. Otherwise, I've seen companies, they say 15 days are doing only payroll. So my thing to the entrepreneurs is that when I tell them that HR can be measured, every aspect of HR can be measured. If you start measuring, then you will end up paying them more. There is no 100% foolproof hiring. You will always make hiring mistakes. There is no 100% foolproof hiring. Is not possible. We're all humans.
So being a people person, more than 12 years, then at what point you realize that you are going to start yourself, something new? What was the real purpose behind that?
Okay, it was about 15 years afterwards, and that was when the last company I worked for, it was taken over by a global giant, and our jobs are kind of going away.
Okay.
It was a planned thing. So, luckily for us in Kerala, between 2010 and 2014, we were supporting pro bono basis a lot of companies in and around Infopark. So our my CEO Shilen had a tech CEO group, and when those CEO groups face problems on, let's say, if it's related to HR, then I will go and volunteer to solve it. Weekends and all we used to go and help them, or sometimes calls only, and sometimes go and tell them. So those people said, now that why don't you do it full time? That's how the thought of getting into. So it was a kind of in a way forced, and it was a kind of a serendipitous move. And I first of all, didn't want to look. I know I would say, okay, this is a good option. Otherwise, it will have to move out of Kerala, because the kind of roles that were available there on a standalone basis, like the one I would never get that role. I realized that I would not get that role in Kerala. So I had to go to Bangalore, which I didn't want. I had come back to Kerala for a reason. So then this made sense. That's how we started off. So we didn't have to do any business development. We already had clients who were waiting for us. Already had those clients. So we started off. And so we didn't, we thought, okay, these clients are okay, but how do we grow from here? So we thought we'll have to go through, this is where a major lesson we thought we'll have to go through recruitment, because recruitment only will help us grow. That was the thought. So we initially tried, and we realized that is not, people didn't want us to hire for them. We said, no, we are good, and also that route failed. So luckily the first 2 years, 3 years, we didn't have too many clients, but we had one or two. In my case, I was doing only the HCM, human capital management part. So I had one or two clients, although worked with the paid clients would be one or two in that year. So the number today morning I looked at, there were 5 whom we were interacting with. 2 to 3 were paying. And luckily in those first 3 years, out of the first 5 clients I worked with, 3 got really, they grew exponentially, and one got acquired, and like all that. So the people got to know that, okay, this was this small company, they just made something, what happened. So because those people didn't give us any testimonial per se, although one of them I had requested, okay, why don't you write? But of course they would not on, they obviously they didn't. So, but this was known outside that, okay, this is company, and one was a global takeover, and so that got us. So they would find out, they will have, let's say when the CXOs catch up, they'll say, these people came, and we had gone to them. And one I remember said that, okay, the investors were asking, okay, were you able to afford them? And so, no, we got. So the CEO later told me that those investors were asking me, okay, how were you able to afford? So by the way, that's a different story, because we were not going after that whole billing thing alone then, because we wanted the whole idea. Of course, for me was to, let's say, if I take an example, it's like, see, there's an ecosystem in Kerala, IT ecosystem been around from 1996 onwards, Technopark and others. But we've not grown how Hyderabad has grown. I'm saying when I left Hyderabad to come to Kochi, the plant or the park I left had 50,000 people. The park I left, within the whole, whereas here in Technopark, there wasn't 50,000 people after so many years. So Hyderabad, DLF IT Park, that is the place. And so I was coming from that place, coming to Kerala, and Infopark had less than, I think, 12,000 people or something. So there's clearly way to go there. So if you help the entire, let's say if you look at this as boats in water, if you help the tide go up, then all the boats rise, right? So that was a kind of example that stuck with me. So this is what we can do with the system here so they can tell entrepreneurs that this is how you can actually bring talent, nurture talent, build the culture. So that is the why part of it. And we did it with the company we did, and that was known as well. That's how those few companies came to us initially. And they grew, so they came back to us and said, and of course we had around 500 people who had worked for the last company. So these guys, when they joined as freshers and others, and they were people with, let's say, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years experience, who were pulling us. When they face problems in their other companies, they will say, okay, there's this, why don't you reach out to them? So those became the thing, and it kind of, from the third to fifth year, it kind of grew. And COVID happened then, and I think in my case, the HR pieces, I never used to write about it or stuff. But COVID, the Clubhouse thing happened. So there were groups which I was part of. They had started asking questions like now. So I could answer some of those questions, and this is a problem, and they said, oh, I can't solve this. So these are public forums on Clubhouse. So I could go and answer those questions, and they said, oh, this is how you do it. So that also the non-IT crowd started reaching out, because once you're on Clubhouse kind of platform, there's no separation between, and they realize that, okay, this is all human problems that you're solving. It's not only in IT or IT products. So the non-IT crowd, the construction business and restaurants and other places and all started coming in, and everywhere IT is kind of a backbone. That's another realization. So without IT, none of the other pieces also, if they're, at least they're using an email system.
Yes.
I mean, that's base level. And of course, email, there'll be messenger, and there'll be tech enablement pieces there, that is there. So that's how we kind of, so we didn't have to kind of, and we could say no to clients. Like the no meaning it's not on the other part. Then the way we would say no if we realize that these people are the ones who don't see the value, but they want to do this because, okay, everybody else or somebody else is doing it. So that gave us that, because and we realized that recruitment time, if they ask you, what do you give me? What are your services? You will not get that project. This is something which we have seen. So our pitches were very less. So it will always through word of mouth, referrals, and these companies. By the third year, these companies were around. They were showing, and the employees from those companies were going to other companies. They were calling us. They were referring us to the new CXOs. So that's how it worked. And so it's more around quality in depth, and even during COVID, we had very good clients who also grew. I mean, in fact, one of our clients actually did not let go anyone during COVID, although they were in travel industry and they were very bad state. But we had been working with them for over 4 years, 2015 onwards. So they've realized some of this, and they've been growing well. And this also became known in this. So that's how it's been. I think there's enough and more places to go, and there are more workplaces that can change, and that can help the state, and it can help the whole. And the other part that we did was, because there was a US company that we had helped grow in those 6.5 years. There are US and other Europe firms who want to come and settle or do stuff in India. So
they want to identify global delivery.
Yes, GDCs and GCC and all. So GCs and all was not a term then we had done it there. It was not. It was just captive centers. So we've been helping about 3 of such companies to set up. When they think of India, we pull them to Kerala. We got them and we have established them, and so so we'll help them. And it was through a few of them that we've started our recruitment practice. We call it Talent Connect.
Okay.
It was for them that we started that practice. Although initially that recruitment thing we started, we stopped it. I mean, I didn't want to get into it because there were other HCM stuff to do. But these companies, when they set up, they faced challenges in the post-COVID hiring period, the 2022-23 period. No, after that boom, and they couldn't find those. So they said, okay, you are the ones who set it up. So why don't you come and redo this, and you convince the people. And then we started that in 2022. So that's going on well. And these are those we know them. We brought them here. And then also some of the companies also have started different companies. So let's say 4 members, 2 going separate ways, 2 starting 2 different companies, both doing well. Like that also were happy, good things to us. Even last year, something like that has happened, wherein one of the large companies took over one of our client, bought another company into India. We helped them set up in India, and now both are going separate ways. So both are with us, and then so it's more connections, and then everybody. If I'm helping somebody to join a company, that company should also have a career path. That's something which you are very particular about. Only then we can. Then I'm convinced. It's not like taking a resume from Naukri or LinkedIn and sharing with them. But you say that, okay, if you join this is a journey. This is why you should join. All that our talent connectors should be able to explain, and then becomes a win-win. So that's been.
I think at the same time you started engaging in community like it's Charam, and you are being a very prominent figure in that area. That experience helped you in some way by building this portfolio?
Yeah, I would say that was a mode. See, I wanted to see for some of the things. If you want to scale, no, as one company, you can't scale some of these concepts. So I was on the lookout for forums in HR who would become the voice or who will take this forward. And then, so SHRM was the first one who I got connected through the US, because the last company I worked for was a US company. So I happened to visit and saw the HR conference and the first time, because my US trips, I could kind of make it aligned to this particular time in the summer. So 2012, I attended the first conference. It was mind-boggling because I had not seen a conference more than 2,000 people in India. There, the first day I walk into this conference, I went from my US office. I went there and I see Condoleezza Rice, who was the foreign secretary, speaking there. And there were 17,500 people sitting in one huge hall. I don't know if we have a hall of that size here, but so later I realized there are about 7 or 8 places in the US where they have such halls, and this conference goes across all those places. So I've attended about 7 or 8 already now. So that gave the global picture. So every time you go, you get around 1,500 international delegates across the country. So it'll be about 50, 60 countries, they'll all come. So you get to interact with them. You know that performance appraisal is the same everywhere. It's the same challenges. The timings may be different. Some may be high-tech there, but some are still using Excel sheets or some are paper. All those things, the SHRM gave the thing. And the Indian arms are also there, the NHRDN and the NIPM. So that means the community. So if I have to create my own community from scratch, I might do, but I might not be able to sustain it for a long. I'll have to invest a lot of time and effort. Whereas there is already an existing community from SHRM, and if you can contribute, again, if you volunteer for them, they will also see that value, and that's what I would. So to the younger HR folks who might think, okay, you share what you want to share with them, and then your career will grow because you get to learn more. And one aspect I've seen is, see, if I'm working for a company, I get to see only that particular company.
Yes, you're in a limited space. Yes.
But whereas when you contribute to a larger organization or a community like NIPM or SHRM, you get to see problems of the other 15,
different
20
industries,
yes,
different culture,
different country, cultures, and then you see commonalities. That's the thing. I'm very certain to say that it's all human thing only. Once you understand the brain structure for humans are the same, or the same species across. No, we don't have 2 species of human beings in the world. We only have Homo sapiens. So it's the same. Once you, so that aspect. See, I worked in 5 companies, but in the last 10, now close to 11 years. Every year, I'm getting more than 5 companies to look at their problems. The CXOs are telling me the problems. I'm in between the CXOs and the HR people. I get to see how the CXO views the HR person or the team, and otherwise. So this and this is kind of course, as a consultant I'm getting, but even when I was the first 6 years in Kerala, was not a consultant. So NIPM actually gave me that opportunity because I was part of the executive committee, and then it was around the time I became a consultant and became a secretary as well. So I could again, time sort was good, but before that I got to see a lot of companies in Kerala with different sectors, as you said, newspaper, hospitals, hospitality, all those aspects of what are their challenges. I think on performance appraisal, I'll take an example to quote how. So I was recommending a particular HR tech platform to a newspaper or a media outlet here. The HR person I was talking, and he said, "No, Anish, we are now having daily appraisal systems or daily measurements. So I can't take this because this particular platform doesn't have that yet." So I asked him, "Why is it that you want daily?" So he said, no. See, what happens is we have news readers. They are evaluated daily.
Okay.
So this is I have never worked in media industry, but this conversation helped me understand. Okay, the news reader reads the news at least 3 or 4 times in a day. So they have to be evaluated, and the TRPs or whatever, all that thing. So the measurement process is already there. So so that's when in places when I work with IFC, okay, you can, as a CXO, you can put up daily measurement system. Whether you're an IT product or service, doesn't matter, or any company, it is there. So those inputs, the forums really helped. I don't know if I would have otherwise gone and knocked to that person's door and say, "Can you tell me about your performance?" No, because I was supporting and the HR tech systems. And yeah, one of the other interests is to get the best of HR tech systems to Kerala market. Let the companies use the better HR tech, because I've seen, like, from 2000 I've been in the HR tech the arena, finding out what the problem are. For those 6,000 people I helped design the problem. So that is still there. So I help link those people. There are hundreds of companies, actually, HR tech companies in India alone. But are some of the better companies, can they come to Kerala? Can they be homegrown from here as well? There are some. Even Technopark has a few who are very good HR tech. So building their client list and helping them. So this is again a personal interest, because with HR tech systems, HR folks will have better touch time with humans. Otherwise, I've seen companies, they say 15 days are doing only payroll. This is what company's HR team told me. So I said, then, see, that is the aspect. So you have to change it to maybe 2 days or 1 day. Why do you want to spend more than 1 day on payroll every month? So they will tell me example, no, attendance, this thing, that thing. That means there's a problem. You can't have, so that is where systems come in. You don't need, and then how do you get?
Many of these operations can be self-service.
Absolutely.
So that's where the system is why so important. And the HR people has to be aware of these factors. Yeah. They're not here to do something else.
Yeah.
Rather than just looking at the payroll for 15 days, maybe just looking at the reimbursement, all the stuff.
So my thing to the entrepreneurs is that when I tell them that HR can be measured, every aspect of HR can be measured. If you start measuring, then you will end up paying them more, because then you will see who's giving you more and you can pay them more. Right now, the average HR salary in at least in Kerala is not so high, because they don't see that, oh, this can provide this much value to me. Like you said, we talked about succession planning, and a lot of things are not looked at. And when you have attrition, you don't. And it's a no-brainer that the average time in IT company is about 2 to 3 years. Average time.
So when I spoke to many of the founders, explain early where they're trying to grow, but they have opportunity, they're trying to grow. They're trying to add the people. Okay. The biggest problem they face is they think that the Indian HR team does not come out with proper profiles. They're not able to contribute. They go for an external consultant. They were able to do the same thing using the same platform. But why this is not happening with Indian team?
So I think one aspect is that again, this connection that you talked about, no, the
yes, even we used to initially we are just relying on the HR member coming back to do this, and we think that this is their job to get back all these people onboarded. That's what we're thinking. Then later, as we interacted, we understood that okay, there is a manager who is on this. It is that guy's game. HR is just one of the link in that process.
Correct.
So if link is broken, this is the guy who's responsible for it. There should be a forum to discuss the broken links. Then only it can be moved, or it can be smoothened further.
Yeah, see, this is a role clarity. That's a problem with most internal HR teams, I would say, and they end up getting into what the manager should be doing, and otherwise also manager gets into what. So if that role clarity is fixed, then this, the better ones, I'll give you examples, and you'll see that about when this collaboration happens well, no, about 90% of the hires will happen through your internal sources alone. 90% of the hire. And so even 70 to 80 is a big number. So 90 is a very big number. So otherwise, that means there's a collaboration or a connection issue, because if provided you have a good product or a service journey going, it is because the people who are applying would want not the HR but the supervisors to explain the role, but that the initial part has to be explained by the first contact, so that is in your example, the external consultant was able to do this better, and that's our experience as well. That's how those clients called us in 22-23. The internal HR teams were maybe unable to do that. Or in some cases, there were no internal HR teams, so they were just setting it up. But in other cases, some of those places they were not. And in other cases, in one or two cases, there was no recruiter at all. So the HR ops was being done.
No hiring.
It made sense for them to get the part. And in one or two of those cases, I was the one who helped trained some of the internal HR people to get into this talent connect kind of mode. And then see, our thing is not to remain hiring for them. We would try and help them to establish practices so that they'll start getting more applicants directly.
Right.
That is the whole part. It's not that okay, we will get other clients. There's no because this cycle will always continue. Once you're there, then you don't need. But again, the senior people, let's say even Google or the Meta or they also use consultants. It's not that, but they were not used for entry level or the first few levels, because they'll have so many applicants, they'll figure out and figure. But they will also need or CXO level, or they'll want. So I don't think consultants will lose, when good recruitment consultants will lose their role.
Yeah. So they are able to convey, and also as you said, they are able to see the roadmap of that career plan and explain it well to the candidates.
So I'll give you an example. I had hired a person for a CXO role. It took me about 2.5 months to convince this person, one person, to get into the role. And now this person has spent about 3-4 years in that role now. So again, after all that, then the final part, the CEO had to come in. I also joined the CEO on the call to convince the person that this is the role too. And this is pre-joining, pre-offer role. So that is the piece. So that level, internal HR may not be able to do in this setup, because this is a new setup. There was no internal HR. There was a US company coming into Kerala, Kerala from Hyderabad. So Hyderabad folks didn't know what is happening in Kerala. So that is when. So roles will always be there. So I'm not worried about that. But the somebody who need to. The supervisors, all that techie role, no? I earlier said, no, work is a catalyst. So who else to explain the work than the supervisor?
Yeah, putting the right people into that role is going to solve this problem. Because somebody is not interested means they are looking somewhere else.
Yeah. The moment the connection goes, and it's... See, we're all humans anyway, no? We will have... Our focus is not there, so we can...
Again, coming back to the common mythology in IT, I mean, any industry, the appraisals. What is a real appraisal? Because now, if people look at just in some numbers, so you are either say Fibonacci series, you have to put some numbers, and finally you will get total score that will become your something. And person, if you look at, go and read description, it's a full story of nothing related to the KPI. They don't even understand what it is. And it's happened like that. Many of the guys were seeing first time just before a week before filling of this form.
So here again, this is a very interesting situation that all of us are facing in India, and I've seen the global situation also. The default is to measure the efforts, not the results, because you don't know your goal in advance. Okay, you have a vague idea. Okay, and although the goal setting as a process and smart goals and as a definition, all these things are available for people to learn and take from for the last, I think, 30 years. Not much of things have changed. Of course, they have improved. Like OKR might have come, balance scorecard would have gone down in usage, but these are all but simple goals to KRAs and KCIs, or so you can measure contributions to whatever, but only if you have a goal set in place, and then you break it down to maybe the key result areas or okay or whatever, and then you map the daily tasks based onto that roles, but to the goals, right? So this whole link is broken, and then it is done as a, and it's like as a word, HR and appraisals, no, are all killed, or I would say beaten to death. The moment you hear HR, it's all negative thoughts. The moment you hear appraisals, ratings, and manager, because it's seen as a once in a year piece. And I remember in 2010 there were less companies who were doing quarterly appraisals. I know platforms in the country now, like the earlier example I told, it is now possible to do it on a daily basis. But if you don't know what your goal is, how do you measure on a daily basis? This is the problem. So I think as entrepreneurs, I would say make sure your company goals are set in advance, even if it is for a quarter. I mean, not everybody can say, no, my thing will change of course it will change every month, but you have the basic route will not change, right? If you're a IT product company in, let's say, telecom sector or in the billing sector, that part will change only very little. But we try and I remember the earlier days of appraisals. No, this can't be measured. This was the thing. In the 6,000 employee, no, how can you measure this? But you can measure it. You don't need to measure granularly, but it's only coarse measurement is all that is needed. But if you don't, then this is what happens, and people will hate it. People will hate rating. People will rate. It will become very subjective. Who likes whose face and who likes well, all the biases would come in. Whereas we are now in a situation, if I look at IT companies, everything can be measured. If you're writing code or testing or whatever, it all is done on some platform which is digitized. It can be measured. But of course, you have to have a yardstick of like time you bring in or the quality or all those aspects can be done. So, because it's not there and it is left to and so managers will blame HR will blame managers, it will keep going on. But see, for me, if it's as a business, it's a proper business, then if you're not measuring a business, then nobody can help you. It is the bifurcation of that aspect that it will get into appraisal. My word is that don't call appraisals for now, at least. You say contributions, because each individual will want to contribute. If they don't, then say I've had examples in I was telling you in the morning, this last year itself, people who knew that they are unable to contribute will find their own reasons to leave the board. Don't worry about that.
So if you have a right goal set, then this is obvious will happen. You will see that automatic attrition because of that.
So it's not attrition, it's actually positive thing. See, and again, take it from me, there is no 100% foolproof hiring. You will always make hiring mistakes. There's no 100% foolproof hiring is not possible. We're all humans. So that 20%, let's say if you're getting, or there has to be a route for that 20% to go out also, no?
Yeah.
If not, then they're inside, and then so that is why you need to measure I would say every week or every month at least. I would urge entrepreneurs to start attempting. You might take 3 or 4 months to set it up correctly, but if you wait for 6 months, then it will come on its own. No, then the appraisal will start. Then it becomes very negative. with the part, and the people hate the company, the culture, everything because of aspect. I had done a hashtag HR search on Instagram because I'm trying to get into the younger platform. Almost 90% of the things I'm saying are all negative about jokes and stuff and Rangoli and other pieces. So that is what people are getting to, because the other part, see, I was fortunate to see the top 10 or 15% through my faculty and others. Now, the social media, the Instagram would want those things to get amplified. You're getting to see only those.
Yeah, you will see
You,
that
you
you
have to go
want the
deeper.
boss, you want leaders, so you have the comparison. You will see that will get most of the like.
Yeah. So when you're searching, you will find them, and they say, "Oh, this is what HR is." So the maybe better ones don't want to get into. Of course, see, when you ask about, see, SHRM also had this good metrics of finding out who's a better contributor, again through the text contributions on the, and they had put those lists. Now it's kind of gone a bit down now because there's a lot of other stuff happening. But they made those initial strides into who's contributing actual content, good relevant content, who are the database HR people. They did that initially for those. They did very well. So I got connected to a lot of like-minded people through on a global level who approached things with a depth-based attitude, and some I'm still in touch with a lot of them. Learning from them a lot. So there, then whether you are in Trivandrum or Kochi doesn't matter, because the internet is, thankfully for Kerala, internet is much better than a lot of other places. So you are in touch, you get to know what's happening. That really helped me kind of get the latest, I would say. Yeah.
All right. Okay, great. And now, see, I have an interesting question. Why you are still a cricketer?
So, cricket I started in a third standard. I mean, that is when the first started. And there was a time when I would have had to choose between MBA, which is the management, the CMS college time, and say, okay, whether it should be MBA or I should get into cricket and go. So, I chose MBA that whole line. But I wanted to. Cricket was more of. I think it is a game which is now again this giving back concept. Now I'm on a giving back to cricket mode now. I mean, so I got into umpiring in '95, and that umpiring is still there. And now the opportunities for playing also has increased. Typically, what has and again for the one answer is wellness, or health and wellness is the thing, because it gives me that, because if you left your own devices, no, you will be lethargic, you will not do. But when the team calls you, and I have teams calling me for October, November, December. So this is, and there are WhatsApp groups will say, you're coming, no, you'll for this you'll be there. So that aspect, so you're getting to meet a lot of people. So team games in that sense. So cricket is, I think for me, that's the easiest team game I can. And I've been in so even if I stop, people will not allow me to stop. People say, no, you have to come. That kind of thing will happen. So it's easier for me to stay in cricket. So my why is contribute back. So I'm going now. I'm spending more time to, okay, where are the people who don't have resources to play? How can I get them resources? Through my maybe HR as a skill, or through my network, can I get them resources? Because I know games like that can bring up the people who are not so privileged. Like so you'll see the comment thread. That's again giving back, which to me it's an opportunity to. So I'm going to umpire for the blind women's World Cup, which is happening for the first time.
Okay, that is happening in which country?
In India and Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So next month. So it's again. It's again serendipitous connection. The cricket has connected me to all this. So I'm thankful to cricket. So I would not want to be away from cricket.
Okay, so that's a completely different experience how you manage these kind of games. And being cricketer, you transform yourself to, for example, you're managing a blind cricketing because the rules are completely different. And so again you are meeting people in different
diverse
cultures,
people, yeah,
diverse people,
different nationalities. So now I'm in a WhatsApp group with umpires from Sri Lanka, Nepal, South Africa, and India. They're all umpiring for this. So we meeting with them, and it's a So I think it's given me more than I can ever give back in a way. Because the kind of connections it has given me, the ice breaking things. So when I went to Pune, because I was an umpire, I could go and walk into the top 2 clubs there and say I want to play here. So, oh, you're an umpire, and that it breaks the ice very quickly. I was like, who are you? No, no, no. Oh, so I'm being told. Oh, say I'm going with my card saying, okay, I'm an umpire. I want to part of. You come for practice. So that's how you get onto. So all that is thanks to the
This
game.
blind cricket is again controlled by ICC. No, is it some?
No, it is controlled by another equivalent of smaller, much smaller one. It's called the World Blind Cricket Council. So it has about I think 17 member nations. So India, it's run by another NGO on the behalf of. So it's a very, very, very different world, and very you get to see real life because those are things that are happening. You have certain percentage of people who are born blind, who become blind over a period of time. That's also there. So, and it can't be corrected. See, if it's and a lot of them come from very poor sections of the society, so they can't also afford to correct in some cases. But I've seen in UK and other places, there also they exist. I mean, blindness exists. Even US, looking at it. By the way, USA team is coming to play the women's World Cup. So it's a global problem. It's a human problem, I would say. So it's not a. So basically, underprivileged or not so lucky, I would say. So, but they get inclusion in a way. It's all part of diversity and inclusion.
And with SSS Consulting, where you want to go from this now? You already start solving so many issues on people and culture. How? Because you are a permanent community actor, you have been in cricket, and so where the SSS Consulting, and you are an only owner, and now you have found one more founder.
No, I'm a co-founder.
Okay.
That's an honor. We have so our thought has been to continue this the rising the tide thing for the industry. That is a common thought. So and there are thoughts. So one area which I want to get into is employer branding. Which it's only been less than 15 years that HR people have started getting into that. Because when I started, it was told, no, it is branding means only marketing should do and all.
That's all the primary issues in hiring.
Yes. So
and many founders still yet to find it.
So we were doing it for those 3-4 companies which we brought to India. So we were doing it for them initially, set up the team. If it's LinkedIn page, and we will bring it up to 1,000 followers, organic, no paid stuff, but they will bring it there, and then we'll tease the team and come out. So we want to position that as another offering. Because I don't think, like you said, no, not many are aware that there is such a
definitely. See, the moment you start seeing that nobody is joining, then people don't know where to fix it. They just go away and blame the HR. This is going to happen.
So there is and that will help build that connection. So and then there are things like there's something called candidate experience. People, in fact, some of the fresher HR guys whom I tried to hire, I tell them, okay, give me a presentation on candidate experience in about 3-4 slides, explain. So candidate experience start even before you, the moment you create the JD, or even before that, even though the company brand is there, then the experience has to start. Only then they will apply when there's a position. So you may not, and you have to keep that engagement with the candidate aspect on, even when you don't have a position. You have a hiring freeze for, let's say, 2 months or 6 months. But that period, there'll be prospective candidates who would want to see what's happening with the other part of your company, other parts. So that experience pieces you have to, on your channels, you have to do. So all that comes under employer branding in a way, and it can be measured. Whatever business metric you want to get it, like in your case, you mentioned the case of attracting and say the number of applicants going up, or ability to hire through your direct as versus.
Yes.
Suppose you want to have hire somebody who's a techie, and you have let's say Java folks, say 500 applications waiting for you, out of which is relevant, maybe 200 are relevant, and then you don't need to go off for that. No, all that is in a way whatever business metric you can link and measure. My advice is not to create another metric for that. Whatever is your business, you link that. It's an easier way to. So we are that is one area. The other part is we'll continue this part of we have to do more. We have to create more content on what we have been doing. It's not there on the internet yet. People ask me like you're asking everything, but we have not done it. So that I think we will.
Yeah, probably I think the materials for especially on the HR people involved is hard to find.
So
and there is a lot of misconception about this role.
So one thought I had started in 2021, which I had stopped when Clubhouse stopped, was that there are Malayali HR people who are global level, they're very famous. So if I bring them to a platform like this and talk to them, they will be able to tell the local HR folks that this is HR is such a vast field and there are a lot of opportunities. So when I talk to maybe the average HR people here, they're not so excited about what is happening. Yeah, the 10-20% is good, but the 80% is saying, okay, I'm not getting a job. What is this? I'm not paid well. So that is, but I've been lucky and in a lot of stuff, I've seen the other part of the thing and I know it is possible. So one way is, and Malayalam, the language is also a problem because if it's only in English in this the case, then the thinking language is not English for most of us. The way to test is what language is your dreams coming in. Most of the times your dreams are not going to be in English or Hindi, but it will be in Malayalam or the natural language. So if you get to hear a Malayali talk about those aspects, and he can talk in English, but you'd say, oh, this guy is from here, and there will be some words he'll use in Malayalam. So that is one the next thing. I had started this, but stopped it in 2021 after Clubhouse kind of died down. I'm trying to do that in on LinkedIn maybe.
Yeah, I see that you have a lot of followers in LinkedIn.
Yeah, not so much, but
you should be keep doing it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So we are about to winding up. So you have anything to give away for the new HR folks who hesitate to get into this job?
My take is it's a greenfield of an opportunity. There are go for depth in anything that you touch in HR. And there's a lot of opportunity. Even right now, I am looking for 3 HR people. So for my clients or friends and otherwise. So there is a lot of demand. And I think post 2020, the COVID situation, that is when people started getting into, and there are still unsolved problems like work from home. That has created a lot of problems for entrepreneurs, which a lot of them are not solved.
Yes, so, still, like you mentioned, it is not a measurable KPI to you never able to understand whether it is working or not working.
Yeah. So if you don't have a goal, if you don't say, then you can't work from home. You can't track work from home. How do you track? You can't. They will give you activity, but you can't track. So that means there are still problems. And by the way, there's a lot of research pieces and happening in some of the universities across India and the world. So IIMs are also doing very good research. So that can be used. So HR as a function don't have any threat, I would say. So come into it, but go for depth. Don't go for the superficial level.
Just don't settle just operation level.
Go for the depth in that, and then there's a lot of, I think people will come after you. So I'm seeking people. So I know there are people who are okay.
Thank you, Anish. Thank you for your time. Giving
My
away
pleasure.
Valuable insights.
Always in good. I felt it was just a conversation like we used to have about a year or so ago. So that's all it is.
Okay. Thank you.